strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
The words you just heard constitute the pre-chorus of Don't Stop Believin', the hit track off Journey's best-selling 1981 album Escape. Featuring lyrics co-written by Journey singer Steve Perry and keyboardist Jonathan Cain, Don't Stop Believin' is an absolute masterclass in contemporary songwriting, arranging, and performance. The song tells the story of various lonely and misunderstood people, a small-town girl, a city boy, a lounge singer, all in pursuit of something that might deliver them from the sledgehammer tedium of their aimless lives. But while Don't Stop Believin' superbly captures the desperation at the core of human existence, I think the song also offers us a revealing peek inside the mind of its co-creator, Steve Perry. The singer came to be known as something of a control freak during his tenure with Journey, and in this video, I'm going to try to explain the possible reason for Perry's domineering tendencies. In fact, there is a word, a single solitary noun, nestled inside that Don't Stop Believin' pre-chorus I just recited that is crucial for anyone hoping to understand Steve Perry, his psyche, and his artistry. The information that follows is an exploration of the life and lyrics of Steve Perry. It's an American dream rags to riches story with some enigmatic twists, shadowy secrets, personal melodramas, and finally, what surely ranks as one of the most bittersweet last laughs in rock history. In all, it's a saga that I believe says much about the man, his resilience, and his intelligence. Now, as usual, I'm going to be doing some speculating here, but I'm going to employ facts distilled from books, interviews, and other sources to help make my case. If you think Journey's music is just trivial balladry that panders to lovesick girls, then you're going to want to see this video. It just might change the way you view the band and its satin-throated singer. In this 6th long-form installment of Dgtl GRFITI, Don't Stop Believin', the lyrics of Steve Perry.
Leave it to Beaver. Starring Barbara Billingsley, Hugh Beaumont, Tony Dow, and Jerry Mathers as the Beaver.
The 1950s, just years after the dramatic conclusion of World War II, the GI generation has returned home and started families, in turn creating a generation of kids sociologists will dub the baby boomers. The boomers' arrival will coincide with the advent of commercial television and broadly appealing family-oriented TV shows like Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, I Love Lucy, and The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. These enormously popular shows portray the nuclear family as almost thoroughly fun, virtuous, and perhaps most importantly, inseparable and secure. It's this romantic and oversimplified world that Stephen Ray Perry is born into on January 22nd, 1949, in the central California town of Hanford. He is the only child born to Raymond and Maria Perry, singers who just months before Stephen's birth took ownership of KNG, a radio station with a Portuguese language format. Just before young Stephen reaches his teens, 2 catastrophes occur that will forever influence his life and his music. The first of these seismic shocks is his parents' divorce. Raymond Perry's departure from the family is a colossal loss for young Stephen. The singer idolized his father, who sang swing ballads to him and otherwise helped introduce Stephen to the magic of music. As children from broken homes often do, young Stephen internalizes his parents' divorce. Speaking in 2022, Perry described his childhood belief that he was to blame for his parents' breakup. I don't know why, but I thought it was about me. I just really believed in my heart that I must have done something wrong. Now remember, this is the post-war era when family is marketed as perfect and unbreakable. In 1950, a year after Steve Perry is born, the divorce rate stands at 2.6 divorces for every 1,000 couples. By the time Stephen is 10 years old in 1959, the rate has plummeted to 2.1, which shows us that divorce was incredibly rare during Stephen's childhood. We can conjecture that the singer felt immense shame, guilt, and humiliation during this crucial developmental stage of his life. We bear witness to that shame on Journey's 1986 hit, I'll Be All Right Without You, in which Perry sings,
People wondering why we broke apart, the great pretender. Here I go again.
I believe these lines describe Perry as a child, constantly fielding questions from friends about his parents' divorce, with the singer responding by masking his pain, assuring everyone that all is well within the distressed Perry household. Thus the line, the great pretender, here I go again. It could be said that Perry's theatrical childhood posturings were the very first performances of the singer's career, a boy playing an Oscar-worthy role in a true-life family drama. But pretending is only part of the story being told on I'll Be All Right Without You. Just before the aforementioned people wondering why we broke apart verse, there's a blink and you'll miss it phrase Perry sings that reveals the depths of the singer's pain following his parents' separation. To quote, "You don't need me." This heartbreaking line lets us know just how forsaken, how worthless, how hollow-hearted Perry felt after his dad left the family. As bad as his parents' divorce is, the other event that will change young Stephen's life is, arguably, even more catastrophic. In recent interviews, Perry has intimated that he was abused in some way during his preteen years. If we factor in his parents' separation, Perry's abuse means the singer experienced two enormous traumas compressed into a matter of months. Essayist Frances B. captures the oppressive spirit of the time when she writes,
Maintaining a positive image of a happy family was crucial in maintaining social status and respectability. This means that abusive relationships were often concealed even by the victim for fear of social stigma and shame.
Now, I'm no psychologist, but we can reasonably speculate that given the increased possibility of abuse with children of single parents, it's possible that Steve Perry blames his father for the abuse he suffered. And, by extension, the singer may have conflicted emotions towards his dad. On one hand, Steve Perry may revere the man who instilled in him a love of music, while on the other hand, he may resent the father whose departure left him vulnerable to abuse. Whichever the case, there's one thing that can be said for certain. Considering the traumas that occurred to him early in life, it's a miracle that Steve Perry didn't become an incorrigible criminal or an emotionally paralyzed degenerate. Three things saved him: his love of music, his tremendous inner strength, and the comforting presence and unflagging support of his mother. Now, before we go further, I'd like to introduce you to a Freudian theory that I believe is relevant to the Steve Perry story. The theory is called displacement, and Psychology Today describes it as a defense mechanism in which a person redirects an emotional reaction from one recipient onto another person or object. For example, let's say the boss is giving you a hard time and you really want to tell him to go shove it, but you don't because you can't afford to risk your job. So what do? You go home and take your anger and resentment out on your spouse and kids. You're displacing your anger for the boss onto your family. I think Steve Perry has been practicing a sort of lyrical displacement in his music, though who can say for sure if he himself knows it on any conscious level. It's possible that Journey songs like Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', Where Were You, The Party's Over, and others represent Perry displacing the resentment he feels for his father. If we study Perry's lyrics with Journey, we begin to see a pattern of abandonment. He's frequently being betrayed, left behind, or pining for someone, and I think this is evidence of the psychic damage his father's departure caused. But instead of directly airing his family's dirty laundry in public, instead of singing, "Dad, you devastated me when you divorced Mom," it's possible that Perry took the resentment he felt towards his dad and redirected it to fictional lovers in his songs. An example of this lyrical displacement occurs on Journey's 1979 hit Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'. Now, Perry has said that the song recounts a time when he caught his girlfriend cheating with another guy, and we'll have to take his word. But notice how he doesn't recreate the scene of catching his girlfriend in the act, as many songwriters would do. Rather, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' is almost all emotion, with verses like "You make me weep and want to die," and "When I'm alone, all by myself, you're out with someone else." I think it's plausible that catching his girlfriend with another man triggered the same feelings of betrayal and abandonment Steve Perry felt when his father ran out on him and his mom. The singer's anguish towards his dad is evident in the bridge of Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', where Perry sings, "You're tearing me apart every day." So next we have The Party's Over, where Perry portrays himself vainly anticipating contact from an unspecified someone. "You never call me up when I'm alone at night. What can this poor boy do when he's hopelessly in love with you?" Of course, countless pop singers have referred to themselves in lyrics as boy. But I would argue that when male country singers refer to themselves as country boys, we realize that these modern-day city slickers are speaking figuratively. But given Perry's childhood experiences, the sentiments of yearning and vain anticipation expressed in The Party's Over strike me as the vulnerable sentiments of a child, a real boy, desperately awaiting some kind of communication from a derelict parent. I speculate that The Party's Over is Steve Perry emotionally regressing into the abandoned child of the 1950s, a boy confused by his love and need for his disregardful dad. We hear more displacement on the track, "Where Were You?" The song title alone could be viewed as Perry confronting his father about his absence from the singer's life, but the lyric itself takes that notion even further. "Where were you when I wanted you to love and hold me tight? Where were you when you said to pick you up after school?" So here we have yet another allusion to absence and neglect, as well as a line about failing to pick someone up after school. Taken together with the song's title, these lines hint at Perry's possible resentment of his father, a resentment that boils over into outright rage during Where Were You's midsection. "I want to know what the hell's going on. Someday you're gonna break, so don't try to get yourself straight. You're just a little too late." Okay, so we've established that there may be a sort of displacement going on in Steve Perry's lyrics, but there's yet another psychological component to the singer's music that begs our attention. If we review Steve Perry's lyrics over the course of his career, we see a frequent habit of him employing variants of the words run and hide. From his lyrics with Journey to the music he wrote for his solo albums, Perry often portrays himself as someone who is constantly escaping and sheltering, sometimes in the same song. For instance, take the track Too Late off the Evolution album. We hear the line, "All the things you try to hide that keep you running hard inside." Then we have Keep On Running from the Escape album, where Perry sings about cutting loose and decompressing after a hard work week. On the surface, it appears to be an upbeat and celebratory track, but the song's chorus is oddly out of step with its own party-hardy theme. Keep on running, keep on hiding, keep on running away. Even the title track of the Escape album features the verse, "Just when you think you had it all figured out, running scared can change your mind." The album title Escape alone evokes images of flight. Finally, there's Journey's best-known track, Don't Stop Believin', where Perry sings, "Livin' just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night." As you'll recall, at the top of this video, I said there was one word in Don't Stop Believing's pre-chorus that puts us inside the psyche of Steve Perry, and that word is hiding. I think it's interesting to note just how Perry has employed the word hide throughout his career. On a track like Too Late, he seems to make use of the word to indicate secrecy and concealment, which is likely the result of him hiding the facts of his abuse and family status for decades. Whereas on tunes like Don't Stop Believin' and Keep On Runnin', the singer appears to employ the word to convey the act of evading and seeking cover. I believe it's fairly safe to theorize that Steve Perry's penchant for repeatedly using the words run and hide is a response to the injuries he suffered as a child. Could it be that decades after he was abused, Steve Perry is still running and hiding from the monster that trespassed him? From the lyrics of displacement to the verses about evading and sheltering, it all seems like the tremendously sensitive thoughts of a man who is still dredging through the rubble of his shattered youth. A man who, decades after the fact, still appears to be fleeing from his abuser. Such themes of retreat, resentment, desertion, and yearning, offset by encouraging songs like Don't Stop Believin', which advocate for discipline and determination, would be cornerstones of Steve Perry's lyrics for the entirety of his career. A career that would find the singer working out his childhood traumas in song. Even before he joined Journey, Steve Perry was something of a legend in his native state of California during the 1970s. Possessing a radiant tenor voice with a heroic upper register, Perry had been living on the margins of breakthrough success for years, fronting a series of doomed bands all around the Golden State. When his band Alien Project folded after the sudden death of their bassist in the mid-70s, Perry made the agonizing decision to throw in the towel, stop pursuing fame, and leave Los Angeles to work on the family farm back in the Central Valley. But just as it seemed his dreams of rock stardom were forever lost, Perry received a call in 1977 inviting him to join Journey, a major label jazz rock band whose previous 3 albums had sold disappointingly. It would be Perry's job to help transform the faltering group into a top 40 hit machine, on par with other radio-friendly rock bands like Boston, Foreigner, and Styx. Perry's pre-fame misfortunes are illustrated on the song Precious Time from Journey's 1980 album Departure.
I was captured by the light of a wayward smile when she said to me, "Move slowly, son, and touch the sky. Very soon, you'll see."
I believe Precious Time is one of a series of songs Perry composed that make allusions to his mother. The track represents Perry, illustrating the encouragement his mom gave him before he joined Journey. Move slowly, son, and touch the sky. Very soon you'll see. This is Maria Perry urging her son to keep pursuing his dreams of stardom, despite the numerous obstacles he encountered over the years. It was this motherly support, along with an unexpected shot of good fortune, that would allow Steve Perry the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to join Journey and chart a new course for the band. And indeed, immediately upon joining Journey, Perry slowly began to seize the creative reins. His influence can be heard on his first album with Journey, Infinity. Now, there are 3 songs on this record that I believe establish a standard for Perry, a standard of singing about family. The first is entitled Winds of March, a song where the singer employs almost Baroque imagery to create a pop-rock lullaby.
You touched me with your eyes, soft as an evening breeze. You held me in your arms as the winds rushed through the trees. You are my child. You make my lifetime big and bright.
To try and understand the high esteem in which Perry holds his mother, let's examine just what appears to be going on in the lyrics to Winds of March. The track's opening lines seem to describe Perry as a newborn child in the initial seconds of his life, gazing in awe at his mother. But then the perspective appears to shift during the last 2 lines of this opening verse as Perry writes from the nurturing viewpoint of his admiring mom. You are my child. You make my lifetime big and bright. I think this is Perry both expressing his wonderment and admiration for the woman who stuck with him following his parents' divorce, as well as him illustrating the deep emotion Maria Perry herself felt for her son. We hear evidence of Ms. Perry's protecting mama bear instinct on the opening verse of Something to Hide, which, like Winds of March, is also featured on the Infinity album. Another in a series of tracks where Perry employs the word hide, Something to Hide is an urgent yet sympathetic ballad that reads like a gentle interrogation.
Please, come talk to me. Tell me, what's on your mind? You say there's nothing wrong. I know. You've got something to hide that you're not telling me.
Knowing, as we do now, that Steve Perry was profanely trespassed as a child, I think we can see that Something to Hide is the singer recreating the moment that his mother began to sense that her boy had been horribly transgressed in some way. As suggested in the song's title, Something to Hide is Maria Perry desperately trying to get to the bottom of what happened to her son, Stephen. Now, as if Winds of March and Something to Hide don't give us a big enough glimpse inside Perry's love for his mother, there's also Infinity's final track, a misty serenade entitled Open the Door. Listen to these lyrics, keeping Steve Perry's childhood experience in mind.
Girl, you came to me, touched my life. Girl, how you sheltered me. It's the joy you gave to me when I was on my own, alone.
Just as with Winds of March and Something to Hide, I suspect that the woman Perry is expressing gratitude for on Open the Door is his mom. These three tracks are perfect examples of Perry displacing the adoration he felt for his mother onto a fictitious romantic interest. Or perhaps it was just us fans who presumed Perry was singing about a lover. Whatever the case, I'm not trying to suggest that there was anything weird going on with Perry and his mom. Rather, I'm noting how Steve Perry creatively conveyed his appreciation for the woman who was instrumental in saving his life in the wake of a horrifying divorce, abuse, and numerous professional disappointments. Now, by 1981, Perry's luck had improved dramatically. In fact, his confidence seemed to be at an all-time high after steering Journey to success with 3 straight platinum-certified albums. As a result, he would begin to write unambiguously about family, starting with Journey's best-selling Escape album. Most notably, the track Mother Father appears to describe the turbulence of Perry's childhood without any of the usual displacement. Let's review.
She sits alone, an empty stare, a mother's face she wears. Where did she go wrong? The fight is gone. Lord, help this broken home.
I suspect these lines describe Maria Perry's post-divorce despair as she fought, apparently in vain, to keep her family together. But in the track's chorus, we hear Steve Perry evince the inner strength that helped him and his mother survive their family's disunion.
And when lightning strikes the family, have faith, believe.
Have faith, believe. Just as he does on Don't Stop Believin', Perry and his co-writers stress conviction in the daunting face of adversity. We hear that same strength and resolve on Troubled Child, a track from Journey's 1983 album Frontiers. Understanding Perry's childhood as we do now, we can guess that the song illustrates the singer's stormy youth, or perhaps his pre-Journey struggles as he pursued fame in Los Angeles.
Sunrise creeping in your eyes. Cold, empty sidewalks. Miles away from trusting someone. Far from giving up.
Again, we witness the never say die spirit that helped Steve Perry survive a horrid childhood when he sings Far From Giving Up. I believe the following verse, Miles Away From Trusting Someone, is yet another allusion to Perry's mother. During his initial hard luck residence in Los Angeles, Steve Perry was miles away from his mom, the only person he appears to trust without any suspicion or apprehension. Considering how closely these lyrics reflect Steve Perry's personal life, it's strongly possible that Troubled Child and Mother Father are autobiographical songs and not just abstract social commentary. Now, around the time that he records Troubled Child, Steve Perry is in the heady midst of an incredible winning streak. He follows the multi-platinum Escape and Frontiers albums with his own multi-platinum 1984 solo outing Street Talk, then appears on the superstar charity song We Are the World, featuring Michael Jackson, Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, Stevie Wonder, and other pop legends. Within just 5 years of joining Journey, Steve Perry's lifelong dream of music superstardom has finally come true. But unbeknownst to him, the upward arc of his career is about to flatline, and once again, family will figure at the center of his troubles. In early autumn of 1985, Journey begins work on the highly anticipated follow-up to their multi-platinum 1983 LP, Frontiers. But for Steve Perry, the album's creation is interrupted by a crisis. His mother Maria falls ill, an unfortunate occurrence that requires Perry to shuttle from the Bay Area, where he and Journey are recording, to his mother's home in the Central Valley. The recording sessions are challenging and contentious. Co-writers Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain want to stay the course, but Perry wants to reconcile the soulful R&B sounds of his youth with modern music technologies he feels will help Journey stay relevant. Towards that goal, Perry uses his clout to assign himself producer of the forthcoming album. It all comes to a head when Perry orders the dismissal of founding bassist Ross Valerie and drummer Steve Smith. Then, just as it seemed things couldn't get any more disruptive, fate deals Perry a devastating blow. On December 4th, 1985, Maria Perry, perhaps the only consistent stabilizing presence in Steve Perry's life, dies. In an interview conducted over a decade after her passing, Steve Perry will describe the fiery emotions his mother's death prompted.
I felt like I was re-entering the Earth's atmosphere with no heat tiles. I was burning on the way in.
As noted previously in this video, Steve Perry had written about his mother many times throughout his career, but there's one particular Journey song that eerily foretells the actual death of Maria Perry. Only it's a tune Steve Perry didn't compose. The track in question is the 1978 Journey classic, Wheel in the Sky, Journey's very first single featuring Steve Perry. The song's opening verse seems to see 7 years into the future, illustrating how Steve Perry would stand vigil at his mother's deathbed in 1985.
Winter is here again, oh Lord. Haven't been home in a year or more. I hope she holds on a little longer.
Those words are an uncanny description of Perry's life since he joined Journey in 1977. From the late 70s until his mother's passing, Perry had mostly been on the road and in recording studios. He hadn't been home in earnest in a year or more, and during his extended absences, his mother would fall gravely ill. But what makes Wheel in the Sky even more haunting is a line just before the song's guitar solo, in which Perry sings, "For tomorrow," as if fate was allowing the singer to glimpse his future. And so, Steve Perry bids a final farewell to the woman whose encouragement probably spared him from a life of depression and mediocrity. But there's little time to grieve than process the pain. Throwing himself into his work, Perry returns to the studio to complete Raised on Radio with his musical compatriots. When the album is finally released in the spring of 1986, most fans are unaware that some of the songs are homages to Perry's broken family. Indeed, the Raised on Radio album cover features an illustration that is modeled after the studio for KNGS, the radio station Perry's family operated since the time of his birth in the late 1940s. Ranking among the album's most important songs is the enigmatic track It Could Have Been You, where Perry appears to address his negligent father.
We were so close, yet so far away. I'd reach out, you'd be gone. Moments that still take my breath away. There's so much more to life than loving you. You don't need me.
This is a really complex verse with lots to unpack. Note how disjointed the lines are, how they don't really connect, instead spilling out in a stream of consciousness fashion, almost like a rambling diary entry. This could be Perry returning to his habit of using lyrical displacement. If, as we can conjecture, the song is about Perry's dad, and it's clear the singer had so much that he wanted to say about his father, that he finally resorted to making a list of emotions, memories, observations, and revelations. The phrase, "I'd reach out, you'd be gone," suggests that decades after the fact, Steve Perry was still carrying around the feelings of desertion he first experienced around age 8. Then there's the verse, "You don't need me." As you'll recall, Perry employs this very same line on "I'll Be Alright Without You." His using the phrase twice suggests that Perry believes his dad viewed him as someone inessential and disposable. It Could Have Been You is packed with devastating lines like this, but we receive the big reveal on the song's chorus, where Perry sings,
It could have been you, my love. Where are you now?
Just as he does on Journey's aforementioned 1980 track, Where Were You?, Perry again questions his father's whereabouts. The singer revisits this very same theme of dereliction on the smooth R&B single from Raised on Radio, I'll Be Alright Without You.
I've been thinking about the time you walked out on me. There were moments I'd believe you were there. Do I miss you? Or am I lying to myself again? These things I do, it's all because of you.
These lyrics are a study in trauma bonding and psychological torment, illustrating all the confusion Perry was experiencing as he tried to reconcile his feelings for his dad. There were moments I'd believe you were there. I theorized that this is Perry as a young boy, needing his dad so much that he resorted to fantasizing that his father was present in his life. These verses suggest that Perry's father had driven him so crazy that he couldn't decide if he missed his dad or if he was just imagining that he missed him. Indeed, Perry all but shows us that his father was responsible for his confused state of mind when he accusatorily sings, "These things I do, it's all because of you." That notion is accentuated in the song's chorus as Perry describes the agony of loving a dad whose departure may have left him susceptible to abuse.
I keep holding on, but I'll try not to think of you.
I think I'll Be Alright Without You is Perry describing the maddening ambivalence he feels towards his dad, the man who helped introduce Perry to music, only to toss him and his mother aside years later. If, as suspected, I'll Be Alright Without You is about Perry's father, then the lyrics suggest that the singer's feelings for his dad are tremendously jumbled and confused. Now, while it could have been you and I'll Be Alright Without You may be moody and temperamental odes to Perry's father, there is a Raised on Radio track that I suspect is devoted to Perry's mother, and its sentiments are rooted in nostalgia and pure, unambivalent love. The song in question is Raised on Radio's final track, Why Can't This Night Go On Forever? A halcyon power ballad that begins in a winsome mist of retrospection.
Lost in twilight, the memories, precious moments, you and me.
Lost in twilight. To quote Wikipedia, the word twilight is often used metaphorically to imply that something is losing strength and approaching its end. For example, very old people may be said to be in the twilight of their lives, unquote. Thus, the opening verse is the first clue that Why Can't This Night Go On Forever is a lyrical depiction of Perry at his mother's deathbed. This impression is underscored by the song's pre-chorus, where the dreamy intro lyrics suddenly turn sad and desperate.
What's in our hearts? There's never time to say. Need you tonight, lover. Don't fade away.
What's in our hearts? There's never time to say. This is Perry and co-writer Jonathan Cain bemoaning the grind of both time and work, the two things that rob us of both our youth and substantive moments with the folks that we love. The very same thing Perry addressed on Wheel in the Sky when he sang of not being home for a year or more. Finally, there's the line, Lover, don't fade away. Here we see Steve Perry at his mother's bed, sensing that her life is fading, him vainly hoping against hope that this isn't the end of the closest, the most crucial, the most significant relationship of his life. After carefully examining the lyrical evidence, we can see that Why Can't This Night Go On Forever represents a sort of continuance, a musical bookend to the Infinity album and its uncannily prognostic single, Wheel in the Sky. Where Wheel in the Sky heralded the beginning of Steve Perry's professional music career with its crystal ball peek into the singer's future, Why Can't This Night Go On Forever seems like the realization of Wheel in the Sky's prophecies. Steve Perry had come full circle. Just as Infinity had launched Perry's career, the Raised on Radio album would mark the end of the singer's musical heyday. As 1986 came to a close, Steve Perry was on top of the world. One of the most beloved performers in the history of rock, his voice and onstage charisma had catapulted Journey onto the elite list of best-selling multi-platinum pop acts. But after a decade of performing with Journey, years of non-stop recording and touring had ravaged Perry's luminous voice. and left the singer feeling alienated and emotionally uprooted. And so, following the conclusion of the Raised on Radio tour in 1987, Perry largely disappeared from view. In the years since, he has released a smattering of recordings, including the Grammy-winning 1996 Journey reunion album, Trial by Fire. But almost as soon as he would release new music, poof, he would disappear like so much mist. Then, in 2014, Steve Perry fans received some surprising news. Totally unannounced, the singer made 3 guest appearances with the indie rock band Eels. What compelled Perry to come out of seclusion was a song, a tune he related to so strongly that he was willing to come out of seclusion to perform it. The song in question is an Eels composition entitled It's a Mother. The song's off-color title is about the furthest thing fans would expect from a parent-approved pop rock artist like Steve Perry, yet the song's sentimental lyrics echo the bittersweet themes of loss and loneliness that are the hallmarks of Steve Perry's own lyrics.
It's a mother being here without you, thinking about the good times, thinking about the bad, getting through a Sunday, talking to the walls, just me again, and I won't ever be the same.
Those words, in simple yet heart-wrenching detail, describe the crushing void one feels in the absence of a loved one. The way Perry probably felt after his father abandoned the family. The way he probably still feels today as he manages the yawning vacuum left in the wake of his mother's death. Perry has lived these lyrics, which could explain why the singer relates so intensely to It's a Mother. It's as if Perry had to resurface and perform the Eels song himself so he could somehow put his fingerprints on the tune. So he could, in a psychological sense, earn a small ownership stake in a song that he very likely wishes he had composed himself. In 2018, Perry officially re-emerged, this time with his 3rd solo album. Entitled Traces, fans need only have looked at the album's cover to know that Perry's psyche still resides in the Central California region where he grew up. The album's cover illustration offers a wealth of information about the singer. There's a pitcher spouting water, a symbol of Perry's astrological sign, Aquarius, the water bearer. In the distance, we spot a farm, no doubt similar to the one Perry's family owned, and right next to it, a California freeway sign that says Hanford Lemoore, representing the 2 California cities where Perry was raised. Then there's a globe encircled by the figure 8 shape representing the infinity symbol, the same symbol that is featured on the covers of Journey's first 4 albums with Perry. And we see a serpent coiled ominously around a wine bottle, probably symbolic of Perry's admitted struggle with addiction as Journey's success spiraled out of control. But one of the most interesting parts of the Traces artwork is found in the upper regions of the album cover. Here, we see images of Perry's parents, along with that of a mysterious young woman. The woman in question is Kelly Nash, who Perry dated briefly before her death from cancer in 2012. Just as Perry's mother encouraged her son Stephen to keep pursuing his dreams of stardom despite countless demoralizing setbacks, so did Nash make Perry promise to resume his music career after she passed. Judging from the Traces album cover, Maria Perry, Raymond Perry, and Kelly Nash are the resident angels of Steve Perry's private heaven, the 3 dearly departed people who most impacted his personal life. Traces isn't the first time Perry has chronicled his life on an album cover. The art featured on the cover to Journey's Trial by Fire album shares much of the same imagery with Traces. We see more illustrations of infinity symbols and Aquarian water bearers, but this time accompanied by an image of a baby tethered by a rope to a cat-headed woman. It's safe to assume that the rope is symbolic of an umbilical cord, the natal conduit that links mother to child. Once again, Perry is evincing his love for his mother through his art. But the most curious image on the Trial by Fire album is a tree whose fronds form a bird of prey, swooping down on the infant in the illustration. A bird also features on the Traces album cover, only this time it's furiously flapping its wings, molting its feathers, as if responding to some kind of commotion. These bird images make us wonder, Did something tragic happen to Perry in one of the hen coops on his family's farm? One thing seems certain. Because of his frightful and confusing childhood, Steve Perry apparently adopted an uncompromising demeanor as a means of never being manipulated again. But while Perry's stubbornness was key to making Journey a best-selling success, his my way or the highway approach ultimately alienated his bandmates. You'll remember at the top of this video, I said I would address Steve Perry's quote-unquote headstrong ways. Studies show that many victims of abuse adopt domineering behaviors as a means of regaining control in their lives. According to the Foundation for Post-Traumatic Healing and Complex Trauma Research, after living through abuse, neglect, or violence, it's normal for victims to promise they will never let that happen again. It seems like the abuse or trauma that happened to them was somehow their fault. That's why survivors of complex developmental relational traumas often believe they have to control any and all situations enough to avoid the danger. These research insights fit like puzzle pieces with the events of Steve Perry's life. As you'll recall, Perry said in an interview that he blamed himself for his father's departure. I speculate that when Raymond Perry walked out on his family in the 1950s, it was the beginning of Steve Perry taking responsibility for everything that would happen to him going forward. So years later, when Perry was tasked with transforming Journey into a top 40 hit-making phenomenon, the singer left nothing to chance. He adroitly seized control of Journey and remodeled the former jazz fusion band into a hit-making pop machine, even though that meant frequently displeasing his bandmates in the process. Journey has been soldiering on with a series of Perry replacement singers for over 25 years now. Yet despite the fact that he doesn't perform with the band anymore, Perry still receives royalties from Journey's classic recordings and tours. You heard that right. Perry's handler struck a bargain where the singer receives net income from Journey's annual jaunts, including money from tour merchandise, sponsorships, and even tour support payments. It's an incredible deal that has allowed Perry to watch from the sidelines as his former bandmates openly bicker over money, spending, trademarks, and more. The singer, who began life coping with divorce, abuse, and unspeakable childhood anxiety, is today living the life of a lottery winner. But while it seems that Perry enjoys a freedom most of us can only dream of, his lyrics and album covers suggest that he's still haunted by the events of his childhood. In the ghost-infested theater that is Steve Perry's mind, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on.